You ready to talk about this shit? Um,
Or
okay, listen. Hey, do you remember that analogy I used for this book last night about puzzles?
yeah, you liked all the pieces, just not the way they fit together. Which I agree. There's really good pieces, but the way it fits together.
Yeah, yeah. That's how this episode's gonna start. That's gonna be the cold open. Just you explaining the thoughts like that.
And yeah,
Give
me
the people
gagging,
who
yeah.
click it, because I probably said something in the title about how we both dislike this book, so they instantly know the very basic premise on why we don't like this book. And I'm trying to figure it out. I really am. Hello, welcome to a Fish and Flower podcast. I'm Flower, aka Rose, and I am apologizing to the fish right now for making them read this whole book. Because if I hadn't made them read this whole book, I would have DNF'd it. And then we could have read something good. I could have read
But
some
hey,
funny dinosaur smut book. Again.
oh my god.
Um,
But hey, it's character development for me because
yeah.
I don't read bad books.
Yeah, you rated
So
a
I
book
read
2 stars.
the
Look at this.
class.
Look at this. I'm making
I
me
rated
grow
two
as a
stars.
person.
You gotta read bad books every once in a while. Like, I don't
Me,
mind
well,
reading a bad
me.
book every once in a while.
Do your intro.
Just because I think it's bad doesn't mean it's actually bad. That's the whole thing, too.
It wasn't good for us. Because I have seen
I don't know
positive.
what it would be good
Positive
for.
review. I did watch a positive review for this. Right after I finished it, and listened to them talk about it, and even they were talking about how the smut was a little much. I one of them rated it 5 stars. So.
No, the way the smut was, we haven't even introduced ourselves.
I introduced myself. You haven't introduced yourself.
Every time you introduce yourself and do the fucking intro, I completely black out. I'm sorry.
I do too.
My name is Fish, aka Stingray, and my fun fact is I painted a birdhouse while listening to the smut in this book, and I think that's very funny. I finally finished the birdhouse. It was really nice. Let me send you a picture.
Yeah, you didn't
Let
send me a
me
picture of
send
it.
you a
You just
picture.
showed me your wounds, your war wounds. You didn't send me a picture of the birdhouse. I just got videos of your war wounds from your cat.
All because she's got to wear clothes. She's got to wear clothes, y'all. And she's like, nah.
Hi, baby. You exited one door and you came in another door.
Are they gonna get it?
Okay.
Personally, I think it's kind of ugly, but my mother likes it.
Your intro was about your birdhouse. Yes. I like it. I think it's cute.
It's alright.
On today's episode, this is Stream of Conscious podcast, very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. This is going to be spoilers for It Happened One Summer, but also a little bit for window shopping, because the fish has not read a Tessa Bailey before. I'm 98%
and I will
sure of that. I will read the sequel to this, because I hate myself. Also, I did that was like one of my favorite parts, was the relationship between Hannah and Fox.
What's her name? Hannah? Is that the sister's name?
Yep.
I like Hannah more than Piper, but for obvious reasons, so.
No. So, the only other Tessa Bailey I have read is Window Shopping, and I went and made sure I rated it 4.5 stars. Yeah, almost 5 stars. It was, like, labeled as my favorite. I think I may have won my favorites for November or December, whatever month I read it. Like, I was so strongly questioning myself at one point. I was like, this book gave me nothing except a desire to reread Window Shopping, which maybe I will do when I'm on vacation. Because I have to make sure I'm not going fucking crazy here. And 2, to watch Legally Blonde again. Which I may do tonight. I may watch Legally Blonde tonight. So, at least this book gave me that. Legally Blonde's so good.
Also, I feel like I'm gonna read my little review that I wrote for this, because I don't write reviews often like I do for myself, but I don't really post them much anymore. But I gave it 2 stars. We both gave it 2 stars, but I said, I told Rose that if Piper went back to LA, I'd give this 2 stars, ... And well, that was so unnecessary. Also, please use normal words for writing smut. It's kind of better than just foul. Absolutely foul.
It was bad. I will preface this before we go into this book. I did skim every sex scene. Like, I was just hitting skip 30 seconds on every end, like 6 times, so it would have been 3 minutes at a time. And then one time I unpaused to make sure I was still in the middle of the sex scene, and he was pulling out his bang, and I was like, please, for the love of God, put it away. Skip. Like,
Listen.
It was a horror movie.
If you don't know, Rose is bisexual.
How they don't know? They don't see the way I sit in this chair. That's how they don't know.
Anyways, I have a sunset flag on my wall. You know, yeah, I suffered through all these sweat scenes. I listened to every single second. She left me alone in this. Alone!
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, I skipped
Somebody started on the way. She was like, his manliness, his hairiness, his big old big. He's so big. He's such a big man. Ugh.
Also,
like, ugh.
The way that her nipples are just constantly perky. And her womanhood is leaking. And I'm just like, you may want to get that checked, my girl.
No, because yeah, it should. It sounds like you got an infection. I think your nipples are broken.
That's so funny. You know, okay, so comparison between window shopping and It Happened One Summer. To go back into the puzzle analogy I made last night, technically, It Happened One Summer has all the pieces. Like, it has, grieving a dead father. We know I love that. It's small town, enemies to lovers, grumpy sunshine, right? And all this stuff. And you would think I would like it. And yet,
I also like grumpy sunshine. So you think we'd like this, but
somehow the way she built this puzzle that was this book was not my thing. Which is so funny, because window shopping is more friends to lovers, which I generally dislike, and I love that. And it's also grumpy sunshine, and it also has this thing where the female character really thinks she's not enough, and the male character helps her grow in that way, and gain confidence, and all this stuff. And that book is so good. So I don't understand what happened here. I really don't. Now, should I talk about content warnings? I mean, obviously sexual content, if you couldn't tell.
No, hear me out, though. I feel like it could have been at least a 3-star if the smut was normal. Like, use normal words for genitalia. Yeah. It's not really that hard.
It's really not.
There's plenty of variants that you can use if you get tired of one or the other, even though there's names for genitalia that are superior to others.
Also, don't the first sex scene start with her dribbling a bunch of champagne all over her boobs. Thank you very much.
I mean, I've read worse.
And then also, every time you're in his head, he's thinking about how his hard-on is pressing up against his zippers and he's going to have to repair his zippers. And I'm like,
that shit, fatal POVs. Like, okay, why are you constantly hard? Get that checked out.
I know it's been 7 years for you, man, but still. Anyways, death of parent, death, grief, alcohol, toxic friendship, fire, injury.
I want that down bad, okay?
Injury detail.
That's a lot.
Alright, let's actually talk about this fucking book.
Why would you do that?
So, we follow Piper. The first scene we see her in, she is being broken up with after 3 weeks with her boyfriend, who she really liked, who says that, she's just an empty airhead who's so dumb, and there's so many girls like her around LA, so he does, like, what's the point of being serious? Like, when she's, like, a good lay, but, like, already been there, done that, bye. Right? So, obviously, this upsets her.
It sounds like a me thing problem. That sounds like something that would happen to me, but instead of me being boring and an airhead, they would call me crazy.
True.
Anyway.
So one of her kind of friends, her LA friends, we'll call them, is all like, we should do something crazy. And so they decide to break into a hotel and throw a pool party that is broken up by the police. Like, they have to bring helicopters to break it up.
I don't know. It sounds like an iconic party if you ask me.
I know, right? So, obviously she gets arrested, and her friend ratted her out as the person who threw the party, right?
Because that's not her friend.
Uh-huh.
If we threw a party like that, I wouldn't rat you out.
Thank you. Like a throw party. So, her sister comes and bails her out. And, they get home, and her stepfather, who I really don't like him. Right?
Valid.
He is all like, you can't do this anymore. He is a rich man, and whatnot, right? And so he's all like, you can't do this anymore, and I don't know what to do with you. So instead of like keeping my eye on you, I'm gonna send you to a place you haven't been to since you were 4 years old, with basically no money.
I spent 20 years not eating cottage cheese, and that's a crime.
I'm
sorry.
gonna send you to this place that you haven't been to since you were 4. You have no memories of it, with basically no money. And so basically he's sending her to Westport in Washington, which is the town both her parents are from. Her father died when they were young. Her mother picked them up, left, never turned around. This is where she learns the name of her fucking father.
Honestly, I wish I never learned the name of my father, among other things.
But that's very questionable. That's very, very questionable. And she does later on blame herself for not looking more into it. I'm like, no, this is not your fault. No. Right?
Like, I understand he died, but be for real.
I know, right? He, during the off-season, because the whole thing in this town is most of the men work as crab fishermen, right? And that's how he died. So during off-season...
Did you know what the Deathly's catch?
Yes.
It's a crab
My
fishing
dad
show.
was obsessed with that show.
I was that type of child, okay? Listen. Are we surprised?
No. So, her dad owned a bar. Their dad owned a bar. And he's all like, I pay someone to take care of the bar. You're going to be living in it. I'll give you, like, $10,000. You got to live there for 3 months. Have fun. And her sister leaves behind her job, that we very quickly learned. The stepfather doesn't even look at either one of them as he's telling them both of this stuff, right? And basically berates Piper for doing nothing with her life and is being so dumb and knowing nothing and how dare you and all this stuff. And he's all like, at least your sister got a job. Like, yes, I had to move things around for her to get that job, but she at least has a fucking job. And even Hannah's just like, dude, what the fuck? And their mother agrees with it, but she's like, I wish I could do more for you, but like, hey, maybe it'll be a good idea to reconnect with your roots. Don't fall in love with any fishermen, though.
Like,
haha. And Hannah leaves her job behind, to go with Piper, right? They get there, and we see their arrival in Brendan's POV, who is the captain of a boat, one of these fishing boats. I love all your cooking noises in the background.
I'm always fucking cooking when we record. Haven't you noticed that?
Yes.
And now I'm not even hungry. I'm so hungry that I make food that I'm no longer hungry, and then I'm just like, ugh.
So, we learn from Brendan's point of view, this bar is very run down. Very, very run down. It's after their father died. It doesn't sound like an actual bar. It just sounds like they just hang out there low-key illegally. That's what it sounds like. That's what it is. It's 100%. They literally say that. After their father died, it was just left abandoned. Also, I would like to know, I didn't bring this up. In the will, it goes to the daughters, and yet he never gave it to them, which is so illegal. But anyways, moving past that, it was like basically run down, and all the men wanted to go to the bar, so every once in a while they like take turns buying alcohol, and they all hang out there, and they keep the roof on the place. But that's about it, the extent of it. They see the girls arrive and see that they're like clearly must be tourists or something, but they like give the address, say that they're in the right place, say who their father is, and then all the guys are like helping them out and are like, oh my god, yes. And Brendan's like, these fucking idiots, immediately. And I low-key get it, because the thing about him is that he is a widow of 7 years, and this is the first time he's ever been fully like attracted to a woman since she died, right? When he sees Piper, he's immediately down bad. And he's all like, oh, we can't have that. I must be a giant fucking douche to her. Right?
Do you think he was crying at the gym?
Yes. So he, points out...
Have you even got that part of the fucking album?
He points out the caregiver that their stepfather has been paying to take care of this place. And he's just asleep. And I'm just, like, questioning so much shit right now about their stepfather, but we're ignoring that, because none of it's touched on, right? He's all like, oh, you're gonna sleep in the apartment? Okay, let me take you up there. And it's, like, rat-infested mess level. And he's like, haha, have fun. Here's the thing about Piper, and why I relate to her so much, and probably why I really like her character. She's
You know what?
stubborn
You're
as
Piper, I'm
fuck.
Hannah.
She's stubborn as fuck, right? She is like, oh, this man thinks I'm good for nothing, like every other man in my life, right? Well, I can't prove any of them wrong, because they know me so well. But this man, I could totally prove wrong if I do sleep here tonight. So she does it. And I love her for that. Also, I forgot to mention the fact that I did message to the fish that I'm slightly more petty than Piper, because if my family sent me away to run down middle of nowheres with basically nothing and say, here, have fun for 3 months, good luck, I would purposely waste away into nothing and die so that they have to deal with that guilt forever. I am normal.
Me too, it's okay. We can be institutionalized together.
She does notice his
attraction.
attraction.
I want institutionalized, okay?
Okay. Down in the bar, she does notice his attraction towards her, and she's like flirting with him, and then notices his wedding band, and she's like, "Oh, never mind, cutting that off." Right? So the next morning, they're
as he should. I really respected Piper for that.
True. And he's surprised by that, right? In his thought process, he's surprised by that. The next morning, they happen to be at the grocery store at the same time because she wants to try to cook for Hannah for being like, thank you for coming here with me. Like, you didn't have to do this, and now you're living the situation, right? Like, this very unsafe situation. Also, they did immediately clean out the whole entire apartment, so now it's, like, livable. Like, it took them 1 day, right? So he's helping her out with that. Is really mean to her, again, says a bunch of mean stuff to her, and she's all like, cool, thanks. Makes a comment about how his wife must really love that, and he's like, oh, she did, and then she's like, oh, shit, sorry, okay, I feel bad, and then makes a comment that if he's nothing else, he really shows how great this community is, the way that he's being a great representation for it, and he's like, ah, shit, my mother did always teach me to be a nice person, because this is a nice small town, I guess I have to be nice to her, right, he makes jokes about, not catching the apartment on fire for cooking, blah, 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 she's cooking, because Hannah left a rag that was used to, that has a bunch of cleaning fluid all over it, right? Next to the stove catches fire. And Piper saves the day by taking it out, and taking out the flames.
I'm sorry, I thought this was funny as hell.
Brendan is the type of person, just gonna put it here, gives me kind of OCD vibes, the way that he has a set schedule and he orders the same thing on the menu every single time and all this stuff, right?
Is it OCD or autism?
Yeah, one of the two's gotta be happening here, because, like, it's a lot. So, he sees her with the flames, and he, like, goes to help, as with his best friend Fox, right? So, here's the thing. He immediately starts berating Piper, and whatnot, and then Hannah gets all up in his face and starts poking him in the chest and is like, you stop bullying my fucking sister. She doesn't need another bitch-ass man to demean her because they don't feel good enough about themselves. Shut the fuck up. And I was just like, I love you, Hannah. Hannah, you're the best.
I'm Hannah. Period. I'm sorry. It's true.
I love Hannah so much. And he feels really bad. This is the moment where he realizes, oh, he's definitely gone over the top with it. Because, like, Piper is definitely, like, trying to hide from him, like, hide from the situation, just being, like, very small, being all like, no, it's fine, like, I don't want to deal with it, I don't want to talk to him, all this stuff. And he's like, oh, shit, I really fucked up. And Fox is like, yeah, you really fucked up, really bad, my dude. So Fox is like, here, I'll take her sister out to this record shop, because, Hannah really loves music and records and whatnot. So he's like, I'll take you to this record shop, to distract her as he, gets Piper food, and, apologizes, and they have a nice conversation, right?
Hear me. Not Cindy posting a video entitled "Reading Trump X Biden fanfiction after Trump nearly got pew-pewed and Biden dropped out."
How dare you say that? As I was taking a sip of coffee, I almost destroyed this whole entire computer.
Anyways, I'm still pissed off that my speakers are still broken, therefore I haven't been able to listen to my Xana vinyl. I'm not going to get over that. The whole time, every time you say vinyl in this episode, I'm going to be so pissed off.
I'd be pissed off for you. I would like to know, because I don't know where else to put it, A lot of the early portion of this book, and every time she has a conversation with somebody from LA, it's a lot of people calling her dumb, and airhead and all this stuff. One, okay, she's not the biggest book smarts person, right? I get that, right? But one, she is, she very quickly becomes friends with a lot of people in town. Like, a lot of people in town immediately accept her because she's just so nice and helps them out with things, and all this stuff. And he doesn't even know, like, most of it until the end, right? But also, she is emotionally intelligent. Okay, she knows her own feelings very well. She communicates them. She's able to quickly read other people and knows.
I feel like that's a greater skill than certain other.
I know, right? Like, I wish I was as good as her at reading people or rooms. Like, I cannot do that. She is really, really good at it.
I can, but then I delude myself into thinking their emotions are different to hurt myself because there's something wrong in my head and I can't fix that.
Mm-hmm.
But I usually can gauge it pretty well otherwise, and my own, when I can, but I can't really articulate it. That's the problem. Like, I can gauge it, I just can't articulate it. Anyways.
So to apologize and make it up for her, because all the men in town have keys to the bar and also the upstairs apartment, right? And he's all like, hey, that's kind of dangerous. And he's about to go out on sea. So he comes by and redoes all the locks, right? So the only people who have keys are them, right? And she's all like, oh, thank you. She's wearing
kiss for that, honestly.
She was literally wearing just a t-shirt and underwear, and so the whole time he's like trying not to stare at her ass, and she's just like, oh, he's staring at my ass, and kind of liking it, but remembering that he's married, but also thinking that she died recently if he's still wearing the wedding band, so he's probably not up to it, but like maybe a good down to fuck quick fun time would be a good idea. And then he's all in
herself the whole time, or behind herself the whole time, and just.
And he's in his head like, oh my god, was she noticing that I was staring at her ass? Oh my god, I hope I didn't creep her out by staring at her ass. Oh my god. It was kind of...
Honestly, I related to him in this scene only.
And then he notices the bruise on her forehead, and she says that every time she gets up, she whacks her head, because they're in bunk beds. She whacks her head because she's on the bottom bunk. Or is she on the top bunk? I don't remember. I think she's on the bottom. And she whacks her head every time. And he's like, oh, okay. Right... and then he goes to see, and he gives her advice of places to take Hayden to, like, hang out, have a fun time, right? And they do that. On the way back from a winery, she meets, I think his name's Nick, which is Brendan's father-in-law, right? Who Brendan called up to ask him to, fix up the padding and whatnot on the bunk bed so she doesn't whack her head all the time. And she's like, oh, shit. Oh shit, what does this mean? Oh no. And at this point, she's in her head that maybe they can just be friends. She doesn't have any male friends. No man has not wanted to fuck her. Like, they can just be friends. Right? She's nice to Nick. He gives her the address of Opal. And it's like, you probably should go see her. And she's like, sure, Opal. Like, not knowing who Opal is. They visit the memorial spot for their father, but they don't really feel anything about it, right? They decide that they're gonna fix up the bar, and prove to their stepfather that they are good for something, right? And do all this stuff. There's this old man who, like, maybe this is the guy who fixed up the bunk bed. I don't know. I don't remember.
I was just too busy chilling.
Okay. He, likes to sit on a porch and read, but he can't really do it without help because his knees suck, right? And so, but his grandchildren and children are busy a lot of the time. So she offers because every morning she goes on a run, and she sees him like every morning that she's out there on a run. And so she's all like, hey, if you want, I can help you onto your deck so you can like sit there and read every morning. And so they become quick friends because of that, right? Good times.
I thought that was so fucking sweet. Like, hello?
I know, right? So, Brendan comes back from the fishing, and he sees that they're fixing up the bar, and he offers to help, and, like, shows them the secret back area that, is, like, an outdoor patio type thing, and helps out with that, and he's doing heavy lifting, and so she's all like, he's hot, and then they kiss and hot makeout session, and he's all like, I'm gonna take you on a date, and she's like, okay. She dresses up really nice. Around this point, I think maybe this is when Nick tells her to go meet Opal. I don't know. She dresses up really nice for this.
Is the way you're talking about it now? It sounds like it happened so closely, but I feel like it happened so far into the fucking book. I was like, oh my god.
You know, it's so slow, but you know that's fine. He knows that despite the fact that like they live right near each other, like very close to each other, that she's most likely gonna be wearing stiletto heels, right? So he picks her up, takes her to his place where he's made dinner. She's like, this is friends with benefits. That's it. We're just down to fuck. And he's all like, I am a relationship type of person. And she's like, I've never been in a relationship longer than 3 weeks. Men usually throw me away after 3 weeks. I don't know what you expect me to do here. And he's all like, I didn't plan to fuck you, blah, blah, blah. They have sex. I'm not going into any details. One, because I didn't read them. But two, I don't want to talk about the fact that she puts champagne all over her boobs and then sticks them in his mouth. I don't want to think about that again.
No, I'm telling you. That happened.
I'm going to mute you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. All he did was eat her out, and he actually wanted to. And she's like, oh my god, he actually wants to? Oh my god. And then she's like, oh my god, I had an orgasm. It was really good. Can you believe I could actually have a good orgasm? That's crazy. Like,
I do remember after the first time they have penetrative, she's like, oh my god, he's the best I've ever had. Most of the time when I'm having sex with men, I'm just thinking about how I look the whole time. But I was like present in the moment the whole time. Oh my god, that was an option this whole time. And I'm like, girl, please go I know you have 2 therapists, but go get another one. Get another opinion. Because, oh my fucking god, that's not healthy.
Because it started as her trying to, like, for him, you know, and then he's like, no, let me take care of you. And she's like, he wants to take care of me, but like, I'm supposed to take care of him. And just,
I love
like,
that.
girl, get some fucking standards.
I know, right? There is a small thing with Fox and Hannah having flirtation, but she noticed that he gets a lot of text messages from girls, and so she's all like, oh, he's a player, I don't want that in my life, right? And so they become just friends. Side eye, right? So yeah, that happens. They bang-a-lang, and then I think he goes out fishing again, right? I think this is when she goes to meet Opal, which is where we learn that that's her grandmother, her father's mother. That she's never met.
Opal's so real. I love her.
Yep. She's never met her before. Opal, so stuck in her grief, has not like really left her apartment in a long time. And whatnot. So she's helping Opal get back out there. A lot of the stuff with Opal is just her helping her, one, look more like herself, and two, get back out there, and helps her befriend a bunch of other, like, re-befriend a bunch of other ladies in the community, and then the other ladies in the community are like, oh my god, how do you help her, like, get into back her style? Like, help me. And so she's, like, giving all these ladies, style tips. That's a bunch of stuff that happens.
I'm Opal, where's my Piper?
I know, right? So there's a storm. There's a typhoon. This is another thing about Piper. Everyone's always like, and he does briefly point it out at one point. Everyone's always all like, Piper's so dumb. She knows nothing. Somebody tells her that it's a typhoon that's coming. So she does a bunch of research on what typhoons are, and then just starts listing off all these facts for her sister. And then at a later point, she, like, asks him how things went with the fishing, and, like, starts listing off all these things, and she's like, did this work properly? And he's all like, you did some research. And she's like, yeah. And she's just like, all that research is just ingrained in her brain, and I wish I had that ability. What the fuck, Piper? What the fuck, Piper? Every time I say what the fuck, Piper, I feel like I'm talking about Piper McLean. In the Percy Jackson universe. That reminds me of that joke you sent me the other day that was like, their ship name, her and Jason's ship name should be Lightning McLean.
Don't utter the name Jason in my fucking presence, because I'm reading the Trials of Apollo, and if you know, you know.
I know.
Poor Piper. Like, Piper's going through it. Everybody's fucking going through it. I felt so bad for Piper. Piper, get behind me. Why can't Piper be happy? Why, like, Piper had no shot at fucking anything. Like, fuck you, Rick, like, for that. Like,
really?
get behind me, Piper. Like,
puts all the children behind me. Um, Also, I'd like to know.
Honestly, at this point, even Apollo get behind me because the whole thing is to humanize him, right? And he's like, damn, I really fucked up. And he feels so shitty about it, too. I was like, get behind me. Get behind me, bitch! I'm sorry. Wrong book.
Also, this reminded me that every time something weird happened in the book, and I was like, Tessa, please, what is happening here, Tessa? I did feel like I was hardened in the after movies, and I found that very funny, so I feel like I needed to bring that up. Anyways, there's a storm. He gives her a key to his house before he went away, in case anything happens, because he's like, there's supposed to be a storm, so, like, it could get cold and there's not good heating in your apartment, right? So she sleeps in she runs over to his house in the middle of a typhoon so that she can be in his bed and smell him, right? And then, gets word that, somebody was injured on the ship, and Brendan was at the hospital.
It hasn't even been a month, and they're acting like this.
It's been like 3 weeks, if that. So the accent is
Why are they acting like lesbians? Like, that's my job.
They literally do, U-Haul.
Stop stealing our stereotypes, you bitch.
Anyways, I think it was Fox who hit his head and had a concussion. Somebody hit their head and had a concussion. Brendan took them to the hospital. He's fine. She is so worried that when she sees him, she literally jumps into his arms, and then they have sex in the hospital.
They have sex in the ICU. Specifically, the ICU.
Mm-hmm. This is the point where he's all like, what are we? And she's like, friends with benefits. And he's like, this is definitely more than friends.
Oh my god, and then she freaks out because she's all like, he gave me a vaginal orgasm.
God, don't remind me of that. I don't want to think about that. Anyways, right afterwards is when Nick, his father-in-law, is there and sees that his hand is holding Piper's hand and that he is no longer wearing his wedding ring. And he gives them a side eye. Up to this point, he was really friendly with Piper, and I really fucking hate this man. So Piper leaves, and she's like, okay, you handle this.
They were just post-bang, like you could, the way it described, they're like, you could tell that they just banged in the fucking ICU.
So she, like, leaves, and she's like, I'll talk to you later. And this is where I get to bring up this point, which is every single man in this book, every side character, every single one, hypersexualizes Piper. To the point where Nick's all like, listen, I get you gotta sow your oats. No man could turn down a woman like that. Type thing.
Please be normal.
And Brendan's like, I'm sorry, what? Part of the reason why Brendan is, like, really big on, still being with his, father-in-law is because the ship that he owns was given to him by his father-in-law, right? That's the whole thing. So, yeah, and basically every other man, even Fox at one point, like, heavily insinuates, like, they do things to that woman, and it pisses Brendan off every time, but he doesn't say anything, and I'm just like, no, please fucking say something, this is actually really disgusting. Anyways, later that night, she goes to Opal's, and then, talks to Opal to going out to the bar, with her, and they start hanging out with all these ladies. The ladies give her a bunch of drinks, for her, fashion tips and whatnot. And so when Brendan shows up, she's really drunk. Also, during this party, she agrees to throw, the opening party for their bar on Labor Day, which is only a few weeks away. So, that's the thing.
This is for my birthday.
I know, right? She's, like, really super drunk.
No, the fact that the party is on my birthday.
She is really drunk, and so, nothing really happens because Brendan's like, I'm not gonna take advantage of you like this, and she's like, damn, that's so fucking hot. And then, she does this whole thing, like, she's talking about how men just throw her away, and, she's not that special, like, he could find any other girl like her, like, she's not that special, and he's literally checking her, like, you are so special to me, what the fuck are you talking about? See, talking about it sounds like something I would enjoy. So what fucking happened here? What happened here, Tessa? What happened?
I'm also asking what happened.
Okay, so...
It happened one summer, that's what happened.
So she wants to get, she found a good deal for something for the bar, and she knows that he has a truck, so she's all like, hey, I borrow the truck to go get this thing, from Seattle, and he's all like, hey, let's do a whole weekend, you bring your sister, and she's like, oh, cool, so it's Fox, her sister, and, the two of them, right, yeah, during this time, there's this whole thing where, one gets them 3 rooms at a very, very, very fancy hotel, and then takes her shopping, and she's all like, I don't need to go shopping, like, I don't need anything, and which is, like, the first time I've ever said anything like that, and she's all like, yeah, but I find it very hot to give you the things that you want, which, if you want to go shopping, like, I would find it hot to buy things for you, because you would like that.
You know, the way it's described is that, I don't even remember his fucking name, that he's not rich, but he's pretty well off. I'm like, do fishermen really make that much money?
They do. I think it's like 6 digits every season if it's a good catch. As the captain.
Listen, I don't know nothing about money, and I don't know nothing about fishies.
That's so weird, because you are a fish.
No, I don't know anything about catching fishies. I mean, not caught fishies. It was,
Do you know anything about killing Steve Irwin?
No.
I'm never gonna let you live this down. I hope you know.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never harmed anybody in my life. I've never accidentally killed somebody. I've never had intent to murder anybody.
I'm laughing so hard with coffee in my mouth. Oh my god. Alright. That's so funny. Yeah, so he takes her shopping. They get hot and heavy in the changing room, blah, blah, blah.
The way this happened was kind of weird, but also it's but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. There's also this whole thing where she's like, oh my god, I finally learned the importance of money, and my hot boyfriend is rich, so we have to break up, and he, like, panics, and she's like, I'm kidding, oh my god. She takes some shopping to get, like, a signature perfume, and, during it, she gets a bunch of, like, messages at once, and this is the first time anyone has messaged her from, like, all her LA friends, right, have messaged her since her leaving, and basically part of it is that, tabloids have come out with, like, that she did this whole party and then disappeared, what's happening, people are going to be really excited to see what happens next when she returns, and all this stuff, and Kirby's like, I will throw you a giant fucking party in Seattle when you get back, or not Seattle,
LA,
yeah,
on my birthday, they're planning a party on my birthday. They were having a giant-ass birthday party for me. I don't know what anybody else is talking about.
So, after, on their way home to the hotel, right, I think it is when she realizes, oh shit, I'm in love with him. He's already realized he's in love with her. But this is the first time she realizes.
It's been 3 weeks!
I know, right? What in the crave? So then
I'm crazy, but I'm not that fucking crazy.
So then, they bang-a-lang after admitting they love each other. Yay.
That sex scene was horrible.
Yep. So a bunch of nothing basically happens. A lot of her, like...
But the mirror was nice. The mirror was a nice touch.
Okay.
Sorry.
They get along. She gets along with the
people in the
community.
Saying that or asking why we wouldn't talk about bondage?
It's a lot of nothing happening. Her getting along with people in the community. Cough cough. Hannah didn't buy this record at the shop because it's really expensive. Cough cough. When she leaves later on, Fox leaves it for her. Cough cough. Blah 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 blah. They're just being cute and sweet. As soon as they return from Seattle, he's like, okay, you two moving in with me, and they agree. I
kind of like seeing a little peek in their little domestic.
I think she's cooking for him when her stepfather calls and is all like, because at one point she called him up. I was like, hey, you want to come on Labor Day to see what we've done? And he's all like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so she's all like, hey. He calls up, and he's all like, so, is this still fucking happening? Because you aren't good at sticking with your guns and doing things. So I want to make sure this is actually fucking happening before I actually buy a plane ticket. And I in my head, okay, this is where we get into my issues, my big issues. So Brendan gets very angry, overhearing this conversation, and I, as the person I am, with everything we know about Brendan so far, and how protective he is of her, especially how other people treat her, right? He suspects, I suspect, that he is angry because her stepfather is, just demeaning her right there on the phone, all this stuff, and she's like, yeah, it's still Labor Day. He is actually angry because he remembers that the whole reason why they're doing all this stuff is so she can go home earlier and leave him behind. And how the fuck dare she?
Yeah, sure. Also, I really like just people existing and being domestic in books. And a lot of people don't like that for some reason. They see it as, like, filler or, like, fluff.
I think you would really love window shopping. That's like 100 pages of that book.
Like, I just like seeing the characters exist together, like,
living. That's like 100 pages of that book, and also the sex scenes are good.
You know, like, I just love that, and I don't.
Also, she's the grumpy in the Grumpy Sunshine.
Love that? Why don't people love that? Like, why do people complain about that? Like, that's how actual relationships work. Hear me out. I think that's why I write so much about my characters doing basically nothing together, because they're just existing together, and that's enough for them. I'm gonna cry! I want to cry so bad last night with my fucking laptop! Ah!
Okay.
Sorry.
So, basically, he storms out, and he's all like, well, if you really love me, you will show up before I go on my trip, on the next fishing trip in the next morning, right? And you will show up. And she's like, you don't trust me? What? You're gonna eat your fucking words when I actually show up. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? So it's the next day, and she has plenty of time. She's walking the old guy, right, to his place, that he likes to sit and read, when he ends up tripping and falling, and she has to stay with him for a little bit, and because of that she doesn't get there in time, she gets snapped at for crying over the fact that she doesn't get there in time, blah, 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 blah. But this random lady is not important.
Going on? That was so fucked up. I was about to fight.
I know, right? So she's all crying over it, and then she goes to the bar.
She couldn't even explain why she was so upset. That's like, oh my god.
And then, so it's Labor Day. Her stepfather just doesn't show up. He's like, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna throw him.
I would kill myself in front of him just to change the trajectory of his life.
This is why I was like, I would be so petty and let myself waste away and see what his decisions brought upon me. No! I will ruin your life by destroying myself. Fuck you.
How did you realize that we really want to ruin people's lives because they ruined ours?
We're so normal. Anyways, he doesn't show up.
At least I'm receiving psychological help in some form. It's not therapy, but...
he doesn't show up, and then nobody else shows up on opening day, right? And she is very upset about this. Also with the fact that Brendan just assumes that she left, right? She's also upset about that, right? When Nick comes in, and basically, he does this whole thing where he makes fun of her for nobody being in the bar. Here's the thing. We don't learn this until, like, a few chapters later. But the reason why nobody's there yet is because there was a fire. And they were helping out. And she doesn't have a fucking TV, so she doesn't know that. He does. He does know this. He doesn't tell her. He just laughs at her, basically, for the fact that nobody's there. And then basically says she could never be his daughter. You're not good enough for him. Get the fuck out. And so then she gets really depressed for obvious fucking reasons. And Hannah's like, oh no, I don't know what to do for this. The only thing I can think is for you to go to LA, and maybe going back into your old life will help you get back your spark, because, like, I don't know how to help you. Right? So she goes back to LA to go to this party that Kirby is throwing for her.
Every time we say back to LA, I think about Taste the Damn Season. I'm just like, and I'll go back to LA and my so-called friends and rappers remind me if I ever make it.
So
it's low-key coded, even though it doesn't. It technically takes place during 2 holidays. It's not the correct one we're talking about.
I forgot to bring up the scene where he takes her on his boat, and then he takes sexy photos of her.
And then they bang on the boat. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one's actually. That one was gnarly. I didn't like that one at all. Like, the first 2 were fine, and then, I
wouldn't know.
Fuck you.
Right? So he's all, like, trying to find her. Probably she's at the bar because it's opening day for the bar. I'm gonna get in there. right? I'm gonna talk to her. I'm gonna apologize.
I didn't even crop it yet.
What the hell? Oh my god, not the fuck you.
It's Vessel saying fuck you too, so you know what?
Okay. To see that Hannah's the only one working the bar, and it's crowded, right? And he's, like, freaking out. And she's all like, she was going to stay here.
What's with his lips in that picture?
I know, right? And so she, is talking about how, she lost her spark. Like, she doesn't know what happened, but she lost her spark, and so she told her to go back home, right? And everyone's, like, freaking out, like, oh my god, what could have happened? And he's all, like, apologizing, and she's like, yeah, well, like, also the bar, like, looked like it wasn't succeeding. Like, our stepfather, just decided not to come, and the bar, nobody showed up. And so she thought it was a failure, and on top of the stuff with you, well, like, she just left. And the other people are like, oh, that's why she left? We're, like, oh no. And she's like, yeah, if you've been out here on time. And this is when we, as an audience, learned because of the fire, right? And all this stuff. And Brendan's all like, well, I didn't think she wanted me anymore because she didn't show up. And then the lady who yelled at her is like, oh, she did show up. She was, like, crying. And then I may have, not so kindly, yelled at her for it. And a bunch of other people are like, bitch, what the fuck? Right?
Yeah.
And then, the old guy she's been helping out who fell, right, comes up to him and is all like, it's all my fault. I fell and she had to stay with me. She walked me every day, helped me every day, but I fell and she had to stay with me.
I love
and
him.
all that stuff. And this is when Brendan learns how much she's actually been doing for the community and how much she has done for this community and how much she's made such a place there, and he made her run away from it, right? And so he's all like, I'm gonna go fucking get her back, and Hannah gives him the address of where the party's gonna be. And then as he's leaving, Nick comes outside and is all like, yeah, sorry, no, he doesn't say sorry. He says, I may have said something about her and about how she's not good enough to replace my daughter.
That's not how that works.
I know, right?
Like,
and Brendan was ready to fight a bitch. If he wasn't on a time constraint, I think he would have actually fought a bitch.
Like, it's been 7 years, and they didn't even like each other that much anyways.
Yeah, no. And he even talked about the scene where she, crashes their wake. That's not important. Anyway. So, yeah, no, he's, like, really pissed. And I would like to know, this is the last we see of Nick. He doesn't apologize at all for this. He doesn't bring it up to her. I made a whole thing about how if I had to go and see this man's face almost every day, because it's a small fucking town, I don't know what I would do. Because what the fuck? He basically calls her just a dumb floozy who, like, isn't strong enough to do anything, let alone take care of a man for this job. And also, it's your job to take care of a man and all this stuff, and you're just a good fuck, and you can't even run a bar properly, as he doesn't give her the proper fucking information. God, I hate him so much. Anyways, Brendan shows up to the party in time. They kiss, and he's all like, I'll be with you forever. And the bar's a success, and they're happily ever after. Hannah goes back home. We did not have a conversation with her mother once since, like, the third chapter when she's sent to the town. I don't know what happened to her mother. What the fuck is happening with the stepfather? I want to see in the sequel their stepfather going to jail for white collar crimes. Right? I want to see him get fucking arrested for white collar crimes. That's what I want in the sequel, and I know it's not gonna happen.
No, why do people like this book? Like, what the fuck are we on? No, what the fuck are straight women on?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. Anyways, they're happily ever after, blah, blah, blah. Who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? Anyways, this is a book that had all the pieces that could be a book that I would, like, probably rate 3.5 stars. Because the smut scenes were not good. Nope.
They're horrendous.
I didn't say that when I was reading them. I did try to read one, and I literally physically cringed backwards and started feeling sick to my stomach and gagged. And that's why I skipped through them.
How do you think I feel? How do you think I felt? How do you think I will feel until this book completely evaporates from my memory?
This is a book that I read. I rated it 2 stars. We both rated it 2 stars.
That's crazy. So we both rated. The last time that happened, it was fucking Molly Southbourne.
I know, right? The way I'm so good at this. No, I really picked this book because I thought it was going to be a lighthearted romance for both of us to read.
No, we picked it because it was summery, and I wanted to do it in July because it was summery.
That too. Yeah, no, it is a book that we read. I honestly don't know what it is about it that really irked me to the point where I rated it 2 stars. Like, I don't understand how this happened. I definitely am going to be rereading Window Shopping when I'm on vacation to make sure I'm not fucking crazy. Because I liked that book. I really liked that book. I need to make sure I'm not crazy.
I don't know how to break this to you, but you are crazy.
Oh, shit. And I will be reading the sequel to figure out what happens between Fox and Hannah, because I am intrigued.
I will not be reading the sequel.
I know. I'm sad, because I think you would actually like Window Shopping.
I'm not reading that. I'm not picking up a Tessa Bailey ever again. This was traumatizing.
I know, and that's what I really hate about this. How could I do this to us?
I need to read a gay book that has some sort of smut in it, aka Tristic Venom, which is sitting beside me, and it has been sitting beside me on my bed since June. And I still haven't picked it back up because there's something wrong in my head.
I mean, we already knew that. Anyways, yeah, that's the premise. That's what happens. That's our thoughts and opinions about it.
That's what happened one summer.
Yep, it did happen one summer. Basically a month in one summer. Technically 2 because the epilogue took place 3 weeks later, so it was technically 2 months.
I thought I was fucked up. That's crazy.
I know, right? Yeah, no.
At least I was friends first with the majority of anyway.
My thoughts.
Bro, did I tell you that one time I got asked I was literally in the middle of a fucking group chat? Sorry. Sorry about that. You know what the name of the group chat was called?
No.
Orange Soda Cult. R.I.P.
Okay.
Orange Soda Cult. There's only 2 people in there that were real ones.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The moral of this book is that they should both get some actual fucking therapists and talk about their feelings, because she needs to deal with her self-confidence and how people treat her and whatnot, and so that if he ever gets angry at her again and decides to yell at her and then ends up using the exact words everyone who uses against her, then she isn't re-traumatized. I mean, she handled it very well despite being re-traumatized by it. Which, I love that for her. Also, I need that to stop being a fucking trend in every single romance book I've read in the past 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I don't know.
If I ever got with someone and they got mad at me, but they didn't yell at me when they got mad at me, I would propose to them on the spot.
Imagine. You on your knees.
I feel like that. No, I'm not gonna say that.
And he needs to go to therapy to deal with the fact that
I feel like that would be a common occurrence.
He needs to deal with the fact that he doesn't even grieve his wife anymore. What he's grieving is the fact that he wasn't good enough for her. He wasn't a good enough husband for her, and therefore that's why he does all this shit to try to make it up to her after the fact. And how he feels like he's cheating on her in the very beginning. And all this stuff. Even though it's been 7 fucking years. Like, hello?
Almost a decade. That's almost a decade.
I know. Like, sir? Please.
I've been alive for 2 decades.
Oh my god. You're right. Do you have anything else to say about this book?
That's not real. What?
Do you have anything else to say about this book?
No.
Oh, you made all that in. That was funny.